And what God said to them, said to me, here in righteous, be quiet. Our God has come to bring us back to Him. He is the one, He is Jesus. Here is our King, here is our love, here is our God has come to bring us back to Him. He is the one, He is Jesus.
New technology. So on April 26th, Sunday, April 26th, we're going to be praying. We're going to be having a meeting after church to vote on the bids that come in for the completion of the new building. Hopefully, we'll have those available to you the week before, so you can look them over. Working on that. So just in keeping with that, so just a quick, so the sale's completed, we have all the money, it's in the bank, we're all done that way. We're just now have this next step of finding a contractor who will complete the rest of the process. With that in mind, next week is our prayer meeting and then lunch and learn. We're gonna not do lunch and learn. What we're gonna do is we're gonna, as a church, anybody who's available, we're gonna go down to the new building. We're gonna commission it. We're gonna start to pray. We're gonna walk through every room and pray. We're gonna pray for the building, for the contractor that's gonna be working, for the safety of the people who will be working on it. Again, it's God's plan, God's church, God's building. We're just trusting in Him, and so we're just gonna dedicate that all to Him. So we're just gonna spend some time doing that instead of lunch and learn. So it will take a little bit longer. And then for those of you who haven't seen it for a while, nothing's changed, but you get to see Him. They've done nothing on it. This week, the youth probably already know, but there's no youth this week. Pastor Jesse's going on a much-needed vacation. Of course, he's doing work too, because he's taking his sister with him. And that's all I have.
All right, well, let's ask you to stand as we continue to sing this morning. Higher than the mountains that I face, stronger than the power of the grave, constant in the trial and the change. One thing remains, one thing. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love. On and on and on and on it goes. Yes, it overwhelms and satisfies my soul. And I never, ever have to be afraid. One thing remains. One thing. Love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Oh, love. In death, in life, I'm confident in God, by the power of your great love. My debt is paid, there's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love. Your love never fails, never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love. One more time, just voices. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it up. It never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up. It never runs out on me. Your love.
Amen. God is good. I'm going to ask my brother to turn my amp on. He turned it off before. It's okay, we're not perfect. Jess is certainly not perfect. But neither am I, I'm his brother. So we're going to actually sing a couple of new songs that have been on our hearts for a while. And so if you don't know it, that's okay. Just listen to the lyrics and enjoy it. Here's my heart. Here's my I have found I am yours. I am loved. I am yours. I have life. I can breathe. I am here. I am free. Here's my heart. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what's as I'm found. I am yours. I am loved. I make you. I have life. I can breathe. I am healed. I am free. You are strong. You are sure. You are love. You endure. You are good. Always true. You are light. Breaking through. Jesus, my heart. Jesus, my heart. Jesus, my
You are strong. You are strong. You are alive. You endure. You are good. Always true. You are alive. Breaking through the morning. You are strong. You are here. You are Lord. You are Lord. You are great. All I have, you're everything.
You know, I'm gonna say, if that was a new song, you guys
Rising from the deep, rages all around me. I will remember. And I was within my heart. The battle almost lost. And I will remember. You are the laughter. I will breaking through my life, and I will remember. The last word. shadows and darkness. In you, we are the conquerors. You speak, strongholds surrender. Your name overcomes the enemy. In you, we are more than conquerors. Your word stands for the ages. Shatters the darkness. In you, we are more than conquerors. You speak, strongholds surrender. Your name overcomes the enemy. We are more than conquerors. Your word stands through the ages. Your blood shatters the darkness. In you, we are more than conquerors. You speak, strongholds surrender. Your name overcomes the enemy. In you, we are more than conquerors. You have the last word. It is finished. My fear is silenced in your love. My hope is endless. You have the last word. It is finished. You have the last word. It is finished. My fear is silenced in your hope is endless.
Sorry, I can't remember how we practiced it.
You have so many blessings. You lead us by still water. And nothing can keep us apart. So remember your people, remember your children, remember your promise so far. Your grace is enough. Your grace is enough. Your grace is enough for me. Praise your love and justice, God. Use the wings to lead us on. You lead us in the song of your salvation. And all your people sing along.
Just let me pray for not waiting for the kids. Dear, thank you so much for what you've done for us. Lord, we just want to truly declare that yes, your grace has covered us, Lord. I just love that line. Your grace has covered us with your love. It's so amazing. Lord, we just want to take this opportunity. If you bless us with so many things, and we just want to take some time to give some of that back to you, Lord. And so as our kids go to Sunday school, I just want to pray a blessing over them that help them to learn and have a great thing to do. Praise God's name.
I know that moment. That moment when you've made a decision you immediately regret. And that's usually after I just click send or finish the last piece of pizza, the last donut in the box. None of you experience that? Just us, portly guys? Maybe it's something you said, or the purchase you just made, and all of a sudden you realize I shouldn't have made that. Sometimes that oh no moment comes because you get some new information. You realize that you, like Indiana Jones just did, where you have some new information and you realize you've made a drastic mistake. But often, there's no new information in the mix, none at all. You just, you make a decision and all of a sudden this new awareness, wisdom floods from some dark recess of your brain and you realize, I have just done something wrong. What happens is we always knew better. But the really smart part of your brain goes, this is a bad idea, so let's do it quickly before everyone else catches on in here. And then you do it, and that part is laughing at you, and you go, wait, no, oh, it's too late. Why did I do that again? Why are we as people so foolish? Why are we so wise to know that we're so foolish? Where does this come from? In my experience, the best answers, the most satisfying answers, the most practical stuff comes from Jesus, as revealed to us in the Bible. So, from Genesis right through to Revelation, to this question of who we are and why we're here. Why are we the way we are? There's some real brilliance. In this series, we're going to take a look at what it is to be this odd, beautiful, wise, stupid thing that is human. So we're going to walk through the Bible, we're going to learn about all of this stuff and try and figure it out. So, central to this huge truth that we're coming up. Well, let me read from Genesis 1, 26 to 28. It says this, now let us conceive a new creation, humanity, made in our image, fashioned according to our likeness, and let us grant them authority over all the earth, the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, the domesticated animals and the small creeping creatures on the earth. So God did just that. He created humanity in his image, created them male and female. Then God blessed them and gave them this directive. Be fruitful and multiply, populate the earth. I make you trustees of my estate, so care for my creation and rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and every creature that roams across the earth. The truth for us, the center of this passage is we are made in the image of God. Made in the image of God. So, how does that work out in our lives? What does that mean for us? You know, if we're made in the image of God, can we lose the image of God? Can it fade away? Do some people have the image and others don't have the image of God? Primarily, though, what does it mean to be the image of God? What are the implications of that? Mormons will tell you that the image of God means you have a body. God has a body and we have a body. His body is just bigger than our body. During the Renaissance, they said it was intelligence. You get a bunch of really learned, knowledgeable people in a room, and they decided that smarts is what counts. And it was an era when intelligence was thought to be the highest order of things. And so that's what meant being in the image of God. What does that say to the people that weren't educated? What does it mean to those people who didn't have the resources that some of those learned people have? What about the people who just aren't as smart as they are? Not all of us is a genius. So are they not made in the image of God? Or maybe they're made in less of the image of God? The Protestant reformers rejected this idea, but they came up with their own idea, which is equally misleading. The term is good that they use, but how they believe that it came out is wrong, and they said it was a relational thing. So when you're in relation with God, you bear the image of God. So righteousness becomes the model for that. And that's what Adam and Eve had in the beginning. And then they sinned and lost it all in Genesis 3. We're going to talk about that next week. The reformers would say that the image of God is not a picture that you take with you and carry with you. It's a mirror. And like a mirror, it only reflects what's in front of it. And so as you walk further away from God, you lose the image of God. And that's what they would say. Calvin said it was a frightfully deformed relic, is all that was left. The problem, of course, with this is it starts the whole story of God from Genesis 3. It starts with sin. It starts with the breakdown. It takes us away from how we were created to be the image of God. And just lest you be confused about, it's not just Genesis 1 and 2 that talks about being in the image of God. Genesis 9:6, whoever sheds the blood of a human, that person's blood will be shed in return by another, for God made humanity in his own image. New Testament, James 3:9 says, ironically, the same tongue can be both an instrument of blessing to our Lord and a father and a weapon that hurls curses upon others who are created in God's own image. We're created in God's image. So the reformers get it wrong by going to this image that we're only when we're righteous are we the image of God. So then liberal theologians come along and they swing the pendulum totally the other direction. You are perfect. You are light and love. Nothing you do is wrong. We're going to talk more about how flawed that is next week. But the Bible starts with us as perfect images of God, which we're going to talk about today. And then it goes on to show us what it means to be broken and corrupted, which we'll talk about more next week. And yet still retain the image of God within us, right? We were made, in this passage, it says we're made to reproduce as part of the package. Created to be co-creators. God blessed them and gave them this directive: be fruitful and multiply, populate the earth. Male and female made in the image of God, but also individually were made in the image of God. We are separately and together made in God's image. In the New Testament, singleness is encouraged. Jesus encouraged it. Paul totally encouraged it. In 1 Corinthians 7, he says, you should stay single if you can do it, because you get more done in life. Husbands, am I right? Huh? The wives go away, we get stuff done, baby. No? All right, well, I eat more pizza. Maybe that's what it is. And then right in the middle of 1 Corinthians 7, I think, verse 28, he says this: the best I can tell you is it's not a sin to get married. Whoa. Interesting. That should be part of every marriage ceremony, don't you think? And for our devotional today, I'm just going to tell you about this couple. At least what they're doing isn't a sin. That's all I have for you. Thanks, Paul. As we create new life, as we create new image bearers of God, we're encouraged in Genesis 1 to use our imagination, to use our creativeness. You see it in the beginning in Genesis to name the animals. You see it a little later as they look after further, but then you also see how our creativeness goes awry when we create the Tower of Babel, when we create images of idols. We use our creativity for wrong purposes, and so we're fighting that with trying to use it for the divine purpose, for God's purpose. But reproduction and creativity is part of the divine image. It's what is built into us as image bearers of God. And we're also called to rule. It says, let us grant them authority over all the earth. We have the responsibility to rule over creation. Now, we tend to superimpose this thing of ruling. We layer in our own understanding of ruling, and we make it this authoritative lording over top of, you've all had that boss who just dictated to you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That's what we kind of think. We have authority over all creation, so we can do what we want with it. Clear the ring for us. Yeah, it's ours, isn't it? Of course, God gave it to us to rule over it. But Jesus didn't model that model of ruling, did he? He taught us to serve. To be in charge is to serve others. When we're given stewardship over this, we're to care for it, to nurture it, to serve it. So what I'm saying to you is you need to recycle. That's what I'm telling you right now. We reveal God's character to each other. We show each other the character of God. We serve one another and love one another. Jesus, again and again and again, taught us that we honor God by how we treat people. Ever been out camping, or I guess I see it all the time, just even driving out of my house, you see a sunset or a sunrise that just lights up the sky. Or maybe you're away and you see a waterfall that just is amazing, or crystal clear blue water, and you revel in the glory that is this planet, that the nature of what God made, and you can see God revealed in that. The majestic nature and beauty. He created all of this, the amazing nature around us, except for mosquitoes. And spiders, except for mosquitoes and spiders, and wasps, except for mosquitoes and spiders and wasps. Everything else is awesome. We look around and see this stuff, and people, you go camping and you feel closer to nature, and maybe you feel closer to God when you do that. And there are people who say, well, I don't need to go to church because I can see God in the beauty around me. I encounter God in that way. But that's true to a point, but if you really want to see God in action, if you really want to encounter God, you do it by getting around people, by experiencing people, hanging out with them. There's something about seeing a sunset or a sunrise or a waterfall that surprises you, sort of takes your breath away, and you pause and you're like, wow, look at that. Look at it. Hey, get your camera. Get your camera. No, look at it. Right? There's that moment. And as amazing as creation is, as nature is, humans are better. When someone walks in a room, we forget to see the marvel that is human being. Now, I'm encouraging you to look at that, but do it inside yourself. Don't do it on the outside, it'll freak people out. Look at him! That's how you get your camera. Don't do that. It's definitely not at church. Now, I'm going to ask y'all to do something. It's going to make you uncomfortable. It's going to last 10 seconds, and it's going to go away, and you're not going to have to do it again, but bear with me now. What I want you to do is find a person sitting near you. I want you to pause for a second. I want you to look into their eyes. Go ahead. Find a person. Look into their eyes. I want you to look deeply into their eyes. I want you to look at the color of their eyes. Notice where the color is and where it isn't. Look at where it flecks differently. Look at the amazing thing that is the eye of somebody. Okay, that's enough. I don't want to take you too far. As amazing as a waterfall is, as amazing as a sunset is, this creation that we have is the image of God. We're reflecting God, and we're amazingly complex and wondrous. And sometimes it's easy to forget that when your kids are being loud and annoying, or your spouse. Maureen's never encountered that, but some of you may have encountered that when things aren't just going perfectly, but we're amazing creations that reflect God's creation in a way that, though nature is amazing, it just doesn't do. The sunset doesn't come alive and walk into a room, have a conversation with you about anything. We're made to relate. It says this, now let us conceive a new creation, humanity made in our image. One of the most amazing things about Genesis 1 is that as you read it, God created things and created the water and created the earth and created the animals. And then it comes to this passage where he creates people. And there's a grammatical change. It's a grammatical change in English, but it's a grammatical change in Hebrew as well. And it becomes plural. It says us and our. God now is all of a sudden talking about relationship in unity, harmonious community. He's talking about it. If you look at Genesis 2, the Bible sort of backtracks a little bit and talks about the creation of man. If you are familiar at all with Genesis, and you remember that as he made things, he kept saying, and it is good. Right? Made the earth, and it was good. He made the stars, and it was good. And he comes to this passage, and he says, and he made man, and it was not good. Now, sin has not entered the world. This is completely a product of God. It's not good. It's not good for man to be alone. We're built for relationship. We're built for that. Maybe that's why it's not good when our spouses go away. If severed from your relationship with people, you start to act crazy and you make up people to talk to so you won't go crazy. Right? Like a ball. with a face on it. That's what it says. We learn about God when we get to know each other, the diversity in people, His image bearers in action, in community. That's why we gather here. You could, in your own home, you could sing some songs and read from the Bible and do a study and learn some things about God, but we come together because in community there's something more. Have you ever been in a room where they're singing a song that just echoes in your heart? It just transports you in a way that other things don't. But there's something about being in a room with other people that takes you higher and further. Have you experienced that? That amazing thing that is singing a song about God together. You know, there's also the time after church where you're having coffee or you're just chatting with somebody and all of a sudden you can just hear the voice of God when they're not creeping you out by saying, look, it's you. So what does this all mean? Because it says, because we're infinitely valuable, we should love others as we love ourselves. There's this painting that hangs in the Louvre Museum in Paris called the Mona Lisa. I looked it up this week. It's worth $780 million, they estimate. But each of us is a walking, talking Mona Lisa walking around. That's more valuable than just a painting. That if you ever go to the museum, you can't see anyway because everyone's holding up cameras in front of you. Because we're made to take care of the rest of creation, we're not living as fully human if we don't protect it, if we're polluting rather than protecting it. Now, I totally understand if you're a progressive conservative or a Republican and you're having trouble with this. Because somewhere that message has become distorted because they're taking the wrong message of ruling. We're made to care for creation. That's part of the image. I'm not telling you how to vote, but we do have an election coming up, so make sure you at least vote if you're eligible. My daughter was so bummed because she's 17 and she's 2 months shy. The election will happen 2 months shy of being able to vote. She was excited to vote, which I love because this is if you want to complain about the government, and I do, you got to participate in the process. So you got to vote. So you get a voice to complain. I participated. I voted. Sometimes you can say I voted for you and you're letting me down. Sometimes you can say I didn't vote for you and I wish the other guy got it. Or girl. Not saying which. Because we're designed for relationship, we'll grow best within loving, honest community. John 1:4-8 talks about this and how it's not brilliant that reflects God. It's in loving others that we know and see God. Because God is love. If we're separated from a loving community, we're like a fish out of water. No fish was harmed in the making of this sermon. I'm sure that was put right back in water afterwards. 2 things about a fish out of water. It's still a fish, but not for long. We're taken out of community. We're still people, but it does something to us. Because we're responsible for our choices, we need to be quick to seek forgiveness. When we do wrong, we need to be quick to apologize. It is a part and parcel of what it means to live in community. It's so easy to continue to hold a grudge or to say, well, they'll get over it. But you need to be quick in forgiveness and just as quick to seek forgiveness when you've done wrong. Now, this is my worst area. Okay, maybe not worst, but it's not, I'm not good at this. I get stubborn. I know I should apologize, especially when I've done something to Mo. I know I should say I'm sorry. Somehow it takes me too long. Too long for her, for sure. But that's a tough thing, but it's really important that we get to that place. Because Jesus is God's perfect image in human form, we'll get to know our true selves better as we get to know Him better. Colossians 1:15 says this. Now, we have a picture of what it means to be an image bearer of God. I'd like you to have something that you can take home for the rest of this week to remind yourself of that. So do you have a coin? A bill will do. Do you have a coin or a bill? Pull it up. We're going to take another offering. I'm just kidding. So I want you to, if you don't have one, get one. I want you to keep it in your pocket all week. And whenever you feel it in your pocket, I want you to be reminded of this message that you're an image bearer of God. Now, how does the coin relate? I'll walk you it. There was a time when Jesus was gathering fans and religious leaders weren't happy, and so they started to ask him tricky questions, and they sought to trap him. And they came to him one day, and they asked him if they should pay taxes. And they were trapping him, right? It was a kind of a twofold trap. They were trapping him because they wanted to show to people who were starting to follow Jesus that he was not the coming Messiah. Because if you're paying taxes, then you're paying homage to Caesar, who's the ruler, and the Messiah will be a king who frees us. So they wanted to trap him in that way. And the other thing was the Romans were very oppressive, and so they wanted to show that if you're paying taxes, if you're doing that, you're supporting an oppressive regime, and they wanted to make him look bad. And if he said, well, no, you shouldn't pay your taxes, well, then they would just report him to the Romans and get him arrested, because you've got to pay your taxes, right? Especially at this time of the year, tax season. Jesus, though, knows what they're up to, and he says, pull out a coin. Whose image is that? And on the back, whose slogan? And they say, well, it's Caesar's. And he says, well, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? It's good. But then the second part of that shows that he understands what we're talking about today in a really profound way. And he says, and then give unto God what is God's. So the coin bears the image of Caesar. Give what bears the image of Caesar to God, to Caesar. And you are the image of God. Give unto God what bears the image of God. Give your life to God. That's what he's talking about. And so all week, as you go about your business, keep a coin with you and be reminded that you're an image bearer of God. You're an image bearer of God. If you feel yourself about to make an oh no decision. Pull out your coin and be reminded that you're an image bearer of God, that you have a God's imprint in you. When you're mad at your child or your spouse, be reminded they're an image bearer of God. This is a reminder that you can keep with you all week, and just remember that the powerful part of that we together and we individually bear the image of the creator of the universe and all of the things that means. And as we go about our week and we make our mistakes and we have to reset and we say dumb things and have to ask for forgiveness, and people do things to us like cut us off in traffic, and we have to forgive them even though they're driving a big stupid black truck. I'm not saying anything if you drive a big stupid black truck, though. Just saying. We are image bearers of God, made perfect in his image. We'll talk about the brokenness next week, but take this with you. Remember this. Honor this in each other and in yourselves. Cut yourself some slack because you bear God's image in you. And when you get a chance, just look at your hand or look at somebody else's hand and just marvel at what it can do. How that one thing can change everything in your world. You're an image bearer of God. Let me pray. Father God, thank you so much for who you have made us to be. And though we make mistakes and we get it wrong and we hurt others and hurt ourselves, Lord, the fact that we're made in your image, that we're redeemed by your Son, Lord, we so thank you for that. And we ask that you continue to remind us as we go through the week that this is true, that this is you. We pray this in Jesus' name.
Inside the light, inward shame, but fix our eyes on the cross and run to him who showed great love and bled for us, freely and for us. Christ is risen from the dead, trampling over death by death. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Christ is risen from the dead, we are one with him again. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Beneath the weight of all our sin, you bow to none but heaven's will. No scheme of hell, no sufferer's crown, no burden great can hold you down. You reign forever, let your church proclaim. Let's give praise from the dead, jumping over death by death. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Let's give praise from the dead, we are one with him again. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Oh, death, where is your sting? Oh, hell, where is your victory? Oh, church, come stand in the light. The glory of God has defeated the night. Sing it, oh, death, where is your sting? Oh, death, where is your victory? Oh, church, come stand in the light. Our God is not dead, He's alive, He's alive. From the dead, trampling over death by death. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Christ is risen from the dead, we are one with Him again. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Death, where is your sting? Oh, hell, where is your victory? Oh, church, come stand in the light. The glory of God has defeated the night. Oh, death, where is your sting? Oh, hell, where is your victory? Oh, church, come stand in the light. Our God is not dead, He's alive, He's alive. From the dead, trembling over death by death. Come away, come and rise up from the grave. Christ is risen from the dead, we are one with Him again. Come away, come and rise up from the grave.
Fellow image bearers of God, go and have a great Lord's Day and a great week. Don't forget, male and female, He created them in His image. Reflect that image to the world.